Hello everybody, thank you for joining us. Today we will be doing a very quick Deathstroke the Terminator sketch. So when you have your pencil ready, we're going to begin. And to best do this, we're going to do a perspective pose with Deathstroke holding his sword. So we will put in an arc like so, arc like so, arc, an oval right there. That will be where the head will be. Let's segregate the oval there like that. Arc, arc in the background like that. Circle, arc, circle. And right here we're going to put in an arc, another circle because we are doing a perspective, another circle, and right close to it another bigger circle. So we have done this perspective pose before just for a generic practice, but this time we are implying it to this particular character. And to begin, I would actually recommend if you use a very light pencil for all of these instructions. So we will go and put in that essential fist first because that is what is in the foreground. Out as the thumb. So a simple line here right through will actually help in determining that handle of the sword. So now the sword could be anything at all. It could be longer, shorter, but try to have it at a certain perspective, like this part smaller and this part actually larger. So I am just putting a very generic sword, and then there is that 2-dimension because it's showing at that angle. And then right behind him we are going to throw in his forearm. We're going to throw in his bicep, and of course then there are his delts. Over here his delts are working a little differently, just hidden behind the body right there. Okay, and there's the chest right there. Let's put on a collarbone, and now depending on what your own preference is, you could put in. So when the sword is in place, let's decide what to do with this guy here. I think the sword is put in a little lower than I wanted, so I'm going to put a section of the bicep here behind the sword, just section, and then go with the forearm and a cocked fist like this. Now there's no particular avenue when it comes to, let's get back to the face. So what I do not remember is which eye is the one that is closed, or is the lost eye, as we say. So I'm going to just put it here, and if it has to be corrected, I guess you will just shift this to this side. There's that eye showing through. Now if there's anything that Deathstroke has, he has a lot of weapons. So now it is up to you. It is your preference of what you would like to put on this guy from here on. I'm just going to put these random pouches here. Now around here in his classic costume is where his shielded costume begins. So it will be around here on this arm, and it ends somewhere around here, just above the sternum. So let's close that off right there. Kindly make sure of all the little details that you need to put in. It is all up to you. After all, we are doing a quick sketch here, so the details will only be so much. Now I understand that I could actually make that head a little larger. And then from there on, it is all just putting in a whole lot of details. So you would of course get the sword out of the way first. In this case, leave it mostly grayish white. Just add in some shade into the hilt right there, into the handle, sorry, right there. And that would of course suggest that our light source is somewhere there. Now you do not have to follow the exact path that I am taking to put in these inks, if you will. I'm using a pencil through and through for this, and I would recommend you using a pencil as well. But you could Google different images and see and get some different ideas on how the shading would fall in different areas. So everywhere you see that little wedge, that shape that is away from light, you need to put in some kind of ink or some kind of shading. Right here around the forearm, I will put some right under there, under the bicep. I would of course round out some of that on the delt to take care of the round shape and have it more intense in certain areas and lesser in others. And of course under the hefty pecs, I would put in some shading right there. I would put in some inks there around the neck, even try to highlight some neck muscles if I can. Right under the delt, more intense there, just around the armpit. course, right there, that very famous vacuum that we see in sports and in different media. And then of course you will go into the pouches, have some fun with them, putting in some shading right under that belt wherever the shade is falling. And then of course on the pouch itself somewhere, because that is what objects do, they cast some kind of light or shadow. And so right here, again, darker than the other areas. Now let's remember that again, this is essentially a quick sketch, so there isn't any regulation that you have to have the shading exactly as we are covering here, but this is one general idea of going around this. And in some versions he actually has what you call a chain mail, and that would actually also vary the how the details come together. I'm going to put in a little shade right there and just a little detail there for his other eye, and then just come down with the shading, some shading right along the So once again, I would generally not do it like that. I would take my sweet time to flesh out a character like Deathstroke. He's one of my favorites, one of my favorite anti-heroes, if you will. So I would recommend googling some images of the character and to see different versions of his costumes and trying it out for yourself. So that is one quick pencil sketch of this character. I hope that this was of some help. Please Google different images and see for yourself how you could play around with this guy, and even like make different versions of his many costumes. So thank you very much for being with us. I hope that you keep in touch. Please do subscribe and have yourself a wonderful day.